All right, everyone. I am here with John duHadway, and he is the founder of duHadway. How's it going, John?
Hi, Steve. Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited to unpack your successes over the course of your career. But what we like to do is start with your background. What got you into business and entrepreneurship from the start?
Wow. Okay. I'll give you my personal journey. I was a single child of a single mother school teacher, and I was obviously in a neighborhood and trying to make friends and things like that. And socially, it was started to become a bit of an economic barrier. Being a single mom as a school teacher doesn't make a lot of money. So I was public school bred. Started working when I was probably about 12 years old, just doing any job I could do, and I kind of gravitated to that because that was giving me money and helping me intermix in my social circles. Um, when I was in high school, I was very athletic. I had a lot of athletic opportunity, but without a father figure, I kind of started to revolt a little bit, and I kind of had a little bit of a falling out with my coach. And unfortunately, what I learned from that is I kind of thought I was winning, but I actually lost because I lost the scholarship opportunity. And then I thought I was getting ahead of all my friends by working, but I started to realize as graduation was approaching, I was actually falling behind. So I was always told that I was the kid who wasn't applying himself in school. And so I went to a community college, and I was paying for it. And I started to enjoy knowledge and learning. And that led me to jumping into a full state school in my sophomore year. And I take you through all that because through all that, I always felt like I was inferior to everybody else. I was not at the same level. I was behind. I wasn't as good. I wasn't as smart. I wasn't as obviously as wealthy. And that kind of stuck with me through college. And then I got out, and I was interviewing at the time for Big Four or Big Eight at the time, and it's now Big Four. And again, I was competing against a lot of Ivy League students, a lot of kids with 4.0s and things of that nature. And I didn't make first cut. But I hung with it, and fortunately, there was a fallout of an offer they had given to a person, and I was the next in line and got an opportunity, and really never looked back after that. I started working. I was working with a lot of Ivy League school kids and graduate students and things of that nature. Felt like I was inferior, but worked through it. Ended up rising to the top of the firm. Ran a national practice. Then became CFO of another company that was my first exit, and did that a couple different times. And so that's pretty much led me to, I guess, to this podcast to talk about exits.
Nice. Very nice. So you graduate, you start working at, I believe it was Deloitte, like a
Correct.
top firm, and that obviously you decide that that's not for you, and you go on to start a business. So what was that transition from Deloitte to starting a company? Were there multiple employers between there, or what was that jump between there and
Sure.
starting?
So I was at Deloitte for a long period of time, and I had visions of being there my entire life. I learned a lot. I enjoyed it. I rose, like I said, to the top of the firm. I was based in the East Coast, where I was born and bred. I had an opportunity for a former client of the firm, but not a client of mine, in the Bay Area. And up until that point in time, I never really even listened to any offers. But this is right on the heels of, if you remember, Enron and WorldCom, big failures. And I found that the risk reward was not what it was when I started in public accounting. Public accounting was changing. So I said, well, let me listen. And so I listened, and I met Bill Dallas was my partner at the time. He was the CEO and founder of a company called First Franklin. And I came out and met with him, and we went through probably about a 4-month courting process, and he convinced me to join him. And what we were doing at that point in time was trying to buy his company back. He had sold it. It was a lending company, and it was a big change from public accounting. I remember showing up in my suit and tie like I did every day in public accounting, and the world was quite different in the corporate world, especially in the Bay Area. This was around the dot-com, if you remember the dot-com era, when everybody was getting capitalized and everybody was getting funding. So we partnered with a private equity firm and bought his company back from DLJ Merchant Banking. And from there, we just basically blew it up. When I say blew it up, we changed it, we grew it, we changed the product, we changed the people, changed the processes. And in a little over a year, we flipped it. So it was probably about if I remember right, it was about a $33 million entry point, and we sold for about $350 million about
Wow.
18 months later.
Wow. And you very subtly mentioned the three P's there: people, process, and product. I like that subtle shout out there. I think there's an incredible lots of different content out there about the people, process, and product, but that is near and dear to me, and many people listening to this, I'm sure, can really relate to the three P's there, because it is fundamental. And going from 33 million, you said, to 350 million is pretty remarkable. So, like, how does that work exactly in terms of growth? Like, where it was, and then where you guys took it to exit at that valuation? Was it just top line that you were showing to the acquiring company? How did that work?
Well, I'm getting older and my memory's getting fuzzier, but it was both. We grew the top line and we also grew the bottom line. And the way we did that, in my opinion, it's people first. You have to have people. You have to have the right people. You have to have people willing to go along on your journey and understand the vision and strategy.
When it comes to the exit, when you guys scaled it up and you were, obviously, the people were coming first, I think that's a really, really great way of putting it, as the most important ingredient to any business is the people. And, when it came to the exit itself, why was it the right time for you guys? I think timing is something that comes up frequently as questions. And from timing, let's talk about how to prepare the business.
Sure. So when we acquired the platform, we had a private equity partner, and what I learned, they were great. And I can tell you another story about a similar company that we did after the fact with the same private equity firm. But what I learned is they are professional buyers and sellers. And so this was my first time out of the gate, so to speak, and I learned a lot from them. We found it was time because we were monitoring the market, the industry that we were in, financing market, looking at competitors. There was a lot of IPOs going on. We actually went down the path of doing an IPO, but we pulled back and did a strategic sale at the 11th hour. And it was through their counsel that I really learned a lot about, monitoring the market, trying to get when's a good time to go. And we didn't want to, it's kind of like buying stock, right? You can't necessarily pick the highest point, but what you don't want to do is miss out on it. And so you want to, the old saying, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So we realized that the market was kind of overheated a bit, both in general with all the dot-coms, but also more specifically in our industry. We had a lot of our competitors that were just, going at record volumes. And when we looked at the industry, it was at an all-time high. So we felt it was time to sell. And it was very successful. And we were wrong. We sold, and a couple of years later, we said, you know what, this market's still going on. Let's do it again. And so we put the band back together after our non-compete, and I'll call that version 2, which was when we used the same private equity firm to buy a company called Own It, and we rebranded it as Own It Mortgage. So what did we do to prepare? We went through, and I kind of alluded to this, we were preparing to do a public offering. So we did the S1. So we had counsel, we had gone through all the processes to do that, all the audits and things of that nature that we had to have done. And so when you understand the process, or when you've been through it, or if you have somebody like I had, the private equity firm helping me, that's a big advantage. And so for your listeners, I would say, it's probably good to have somebody who's been through it, whether it's a consultant, whether it's a attorney or what have you. Somebody who's been through deals can help walk you through those and coach you through it.
All right. So that takes us to the finale question of knowing what you know now. What would you tell John 10 years ago?
I think part of that's personality, right? Everybody has a different personality, and everybody's different. For me, I was a very A-type personality and very high strung. So when I was going through it, it was the first time it was very, very stressful because I had to have all my I's dotted, T's crossed, and had to know everything. Second time around, being experienced and understanding what that whole process is and trusting that process, I could see the big picture a lot better. So I think if I was to tell myself, I would say, hey, relax. Don't get caught so much in the details. Step back and look at more about the process, understand the process, and trust the process. It's been done many, many times before you've done it. And it's going to continue to go that way again. And when you fight it, it's not going to work out, right? So, a good advisors could help you and walk you through it and get you prepared to know what to expect, when to expect it, how long things are going to, duration and things like that, what to be prepared for and all that, and listen to them, and because that will help you as you go through it.
Well said. Well said. Well, those are all the questions I have for you. What are you working on now?
Right now, I basically advise and consult early stage companies. So companies usually in the 10 to 50 million range of revenue. I take them through and do a lot of what I just explained, but I do a lot of fractional work, a lot of fractional CFO and C-suite work. So I help them out. And the goal is to grow them, help them scale, help them learn from what I've experienced, and hopefully they go off to the promised land. But I also tell them that the exit is a result; it's not the goal. The goal is I always think, is to build something great, and the exit will come. But if I just think sometimes they focus too much on the exit without focusing on the business. So build the business and good things will happen by focusing on that.
Nice. Nice. Well, where can people go and learn more about what you're working on?
Sure. They can reach me at John, JOHN, at duHadway, DUHADWAY, LLC.com. I do have a website that's duHadwayLLC.com. I'm actually in the process of trying to do some rebranding with that. That was basically my holding company for my private equity deals that I had done as an investor. So more to come there, but certainly reach out and give me a call if I can help.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, a lot of success over the course of your career. Congratulations on all of that. You've done a great job. And thank you for coming on and sharing your whole story.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Steve.